familiarity when it comes to putting your game plan together, so you kind of don't have to go back to something that you did a whole while back or at the beginning of the season or whatnot. But the bad thing is that they're much more familiar, although he said, and this was interesting, you can hear it in Shanahan and Hoyer, the cockiness, I don't want to say cockiness, confidence in the effectiveness of this offense, because they both this week said where before they talked about not being able to use the no huddle as much because they've already got film on it. Well, now it's more like we're going to use it in a different way, but we think we could still be really effective with it. And they know that. I think that is the one really surprising thing about the defense. That offense is Tennessee. I saw it in the Plain Dealer. I can't remember who wrote it yesterday. The paragraph said it all. Said Tennessee chose to go for it on fourth down because they were actually afraid to give the ball back to the Browns offense. When the hell is the last time anybody has been afraid to give the ball to the Browns offense? So that part is legit there, and that'll be interesting to see just how high scoring of a game we're looking at the upcoming game here with the Steelers. Going back to the phones, let's try this again. Caller, you are on the Sports Fix, I think.
Yeah, your phone's open now.
Yeah! All right. What's happening?
Okay, when I called earlier, it was just clicking. It wasn't actually ringing through.
Wow, so that's what happened with Kendall. All right, my apologies to Kendall Lewis, and I will have to fix that off the air. Apparently the phone, that makes sense. No, there were no phone calls coming in for the first 30 minutes of the show, man. So there we go. Thank you for letting me know what was going on, because I checked my phone. And I got a text from Kendall, and, I'm running this thing by myself here. So he's like, hey, man, I can't get through. And I got a limited window here. I'm like, what do you mean you can't get through, man? And, well, there you go. Thanks for letting me know that. So, again, my apologies, you guys. And my apologies for fumbling around for about 3.5 minutes there in the middle of this segment. But we're back on. We're back rolling. Since I got you on the phone, man, you want to chime in on this conversation?
No, I just wanted to say that Bernie Kosar did a interview yesterday on a different radio station, and he said he doesn't see how Hoyer can play any better than he has been.
I would agree with that.
So I would too, without a doubt.
Talk to me. Let me ask you, because this is Bruce, by the way, for those of you guys that don't know. Bruce, you call all the time. You're a big-time contributor to the show. I know you're a Johnny Manziel guy, and I know that. This is why I'm interested in having you on here. Where are you at with the Browns, and especially Brian Hoyer, what he's done? So I meant what I just said right when you were on hold there. Before, I don't know if you heard me, but to hear Tennessee say that, I mean, when's the last time any coach has said, we really didn't want to give the Browns the ball back because they knew that the Browns were having their way with them in the second half? And, I mean, it's been a long time since the Browns have had any kind of I don't want to use the word like offensive juggernaut, but they can put some points on the board, and that's been a long time coming.
Well, I'm not the biggest Browns fan in the first place.
I know.
Okay, so if I was being totally honest with what I've seen in the first 4 games,
that's what I
this is a totally different team. The whole team looks different. You can't count them out. I'm not going as far as the cardiac kids. That's a little, far-fetched after 4 games. But I will say that they are worth watching. They do keep your interest, even after the first half in most games. Because you don't know if they're going to come back or not. And those people that, turn it off and then say, I wish I would have watched it. They're not, the turn-off type of team this year.
Right. You can watch them. Like, you can watch it, and I know where you're coming from, and I know how hard it is for you to say that, too. Because you really, and I get it, though. It's not like you just go, I don't like the Browns for any reason. You don't like what the Browns turned into, and I totally understand that. A lot of people have that exact same feeling, So, I totally get you there, but you're right. It's different. This isn't building a parade or a statue or any of that. It is a different vibe when you watch it. Like, you're like, wow, this is like I don't know, say real football, but it's the closest to it that you've seen in a while. Now, of course, we're getting, closing in on the third quarter pole away for the Browns. Most of the rest of the NFL about a third of the way through the season here this coming weekend. So you still got a lot of games to play, but yeah, I agree. That is the one thing most people agree with, even if they don't agree with how many games the Browns are going to win or whatever, whatever the ceiling is that it feels like a different team, and it's like, wow, it's like I can watch this. Even if they lose, I can watch this. This is a good football game.
Well, the way I watch it from a different angle than the actual Kool-Aid drinking Browns fan. I watch it, to see the other team score, and so I mean,
Terrible.
I'm just telling you, the way I watch
Bruce,
it.
My man,
Bruce,
I got to put you
I
on
make
hold.
notes of the things that the Browns do wrong. So that way I have something to talk about in my column the next day. But lately there hasn't been anything to talk about because, they've been somehow pulling these things out of thin air and, making games out of them. So you can't really count them out. Like I told a guy the other day, just watch the last minute and that'll tell you if the Browns won or lost.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I love the way you put that. I actually watch because I want to comment on all the things they did wrong, and they haven't been giving me a lot of things to talk about.
I haven't had a lot to talk about. I mean,
I love it. It's honesty, though, Bruce. And, hey, again, 4 games is 4 games. Let's see what happens this week with the Steelers. But I'm with you on that, man, and we'll see. This one's a big one here because I haven't done this in a long time. You get a chance to change the course of the rest of your season, of your future, etc. And this is the next one. Pittsburgh's the next thing that you haven't done in a while, and you haven't done much of it. So let's see how you handle that one. You went on the road and won a game. Cool. Now come home and beat Pittsburgh, and then we'll go from there. Man, because I got to let you go. I got Kendall. I'm so sorry for having to dump the call like that. I apologize. Bruce, I'll let you call back. I promise I'll let you call back, but I got to go to the phones. Kendall Lewis, the BSK, he is here. Ha, surprised you. Kendall, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing all right, J-Rock. I apologize. I got my signals crossed up.
Oh, it's all good, man.
I'm going to talk the Browns and the Steelers right now.
Let's do it. Actually, I just told the story on the air. I looked down at my phone because, I don't have a board op. So I looked down and I had a text from you. And I said, somebody give me a call. And Bruce called in and he said, okay, man. I said, all right, well, the phones are working. I said, I'm sorry, guys. We missed Kendall, man. I don't know what happened. And then you texted back. I actually had a caller on. I said, I'm sorry. I got to go. Kendall's calling right now. And I feel bad I hung up, but I wanted to get you right on the show. So I'm glad we could make it happen. And real quick, before we look at the Steelers, look back at the Titans. What are your thoughts on that game? Obviously, you don't want to fall down that big, but, man, what a comeback it was, too.
Well, the first thing I thought when I saw that game was that this edition of the Browns under Brian Hoyer looks a lot like, to me, the cardiac kids of my youth of the 70s. And, Brian Syke was the kind of quarterback that if you left him any hope, he would get you. And if you, left the door open just a little bit, you put yourself in line to be beaten. And it looks like to me that that's what Brian Hoyer is developing into. Seems like he has that kind of pedigree, that captain comeback pedigree, where down the stretch he may have had a bad game for 3+ quarters or whatever it is, but at the end, if there's a chance, he seems to have the concentration and skill to bring a team back. And what that does for a team, it infuses them with all kinds of confidence to play loose, to make mistakes, to play great. It doesn't matter because they know that if it's a close game, if it can be won, if they have a drive or a couple of drives to win it, they got the guy who can go and get it done. So that's a good thing. I keep seeing good things about the Browns, but unfortunately, I think the thing that reminds me also of that cardiac era is that defense, especially early, especially in the mid-'70s, was not that good. And this defense is just not that good right now. It's reputed to be a very good defense with key additions of Whitner and Carlos Dansby and Gilbert and, this one and that one. But now attrition, injuries are starting to set in. Phil Taylor's out for a few weeks.
Yep.
And those other players probably save Carlos Dansby just aren't playing that well, because all you have to do is look at the number first ranked defense in the league, and there are only 32 teams, I might remind you.
Yeah.
They're giving up 421 yards a game. They're giving up 26.3 points a game, which is 24th worst in the league. So it's not like they have a bad defense which gives up no points. That's called the traditional rubber band defense. I lived through that era, too, with the Browns. It's not that. And it isn't, the passing yardages surpass the rushing yardages. They're all bad figures. So they have to shore that defense up, or every week they're going to have to either come back or be involved in a shootout. So that's my takeaway from Sunday's game, is that the Browns had the wherewithal, even without the great receivers, to come back, win the game, primarily on the back of their running game. And the most interesting thing about that game was that the Browns came back while not eschewing the running game. They continued to run the rock, and to run the rock well. Ben Tate, Terrence West, and Isaiah Crowell all ran the ball well. They ran jet sweeps with Andrew Hawkins and Taylor Gabriel. Man, they managed to run the ball to kind of take the pressure off of the passing game. And really, Brian Hoyer is still playing a clean game, because when he finally threw an interception, it was third down and long. They were trying to flip the field, so it was just as good as a punt to take your shot there. And if it's good, then they get a first down in plus territory, way in plus territory. But if it doesn't, it serves as a punt, and that's just what happened. So I don't hold that interception against him. He's been great. He's been very judicious with the ball. He's got a 90-plus passer rating. He's thrown more touchdowns than anything. Of course, interception. He's only got one. His record as a starter is excellent. And most importantly to me, it's quieted the Johnny Manziel talk. Yeah. And that makes me feel good about my stance in May. I said that the pick of Johnny Manziel was a waste, because I think what's going to happen is Hoyer is going to show us he can play. And they're not going to get rid of a functioning good quarterback, probably playing the best snap of quarterback since their renaissance in 1999, to give Johnny-come-lately, if you will, a chance at the quarterback spot. And I think this is what we're seeing out of Johnny Manziel. It's been written nationally that he's a frat boy, that he's a party boy, he's a college boy, he's a kid, he's not a grown-up. And you need to be all of those things. You need to be the grown-up to play quarterback in the NFL, based on the responsibilities you have, and then also based on what you have to do and get done for your team. You have a lot of responsibility. First of all, he showed up and admitted, I don't know the playbook. Well, what were you doing all off season when you should have been learning it? The second thing, he's longing for college. It's like that dish commercial. We can go back to college? Take me, please. Now, as I remember, when he was at Texas A&M, he wanted to be out of there. Now he wants to be back there. Make up your mind. But either way, it doesn't bode well for the Browns, so he's out of the picture, and that's a good thing for the Cleveland Browns. So coming out of last weekend, the clear mandate on the part of Mike Pettin and the rest of this organization, get better on defense so that they can take advantage of these next 3-4 games against teams that are eminently beatable, starting with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You just hit on two things there when you said about continuing to run the ball. The Browns down 25 points. From that point, they ran the ball 25 times after that. I mean, like you said, more than just a commitment to the run. When you know, I said this the other day, Monday after the game, I said, when you know that there could be 45 seconds left in the game and they'll run a draw play on you if you leave it open, what that does to a defense cannot be overstated, because they literally have to not only cover everybody, but also protect against the run. And I mean, that's an amazing commitment, because we're used to Cleveland where coaches give up on the run in the second quarter, let alone not giving up on it in the final 2 minutes of the game. Big difference. And when you talk about Hoyer, my thing with him, and I think I saw a couple of people focusing on this this week, reading the Plain Dealer, is